Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is Anthony here, Professional Yapper, and today I'm going to be discussing the MCU Multiverse Saga. And I'm going to try making this a long video because I have so much that I want to talk about. So the Multiverse Saga refers to Phase 4 and 5 of the MCU, and which is also known as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And today I'm going to be talking about what happened with the MCU as a whole, and I'm going to talk about some of these projects. And I'm just going to talk about what went wrong. So for the record, I do not think I do not think Phase 4 and 5 were all bad. Like, there was some good stuff, and not just that. I feel like a lot of projects got unfair amounts of hate for reasons that I'm going to talk about today. And yeah, I'm just going to discuss the Multiverse Saga as a whole and some of the issues and some of the good things too. So the first issue I just want to get out of the way is a big one. It's the quantity over quality issue. Like, look at this picture. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 25 projects on this list. And some of these projects didn't even come out, got delayed, or got scrapped entirely. And I'm not gonna lie, some of these are really, really pointless. Like, did we really need a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special? Or an entire show about the fucking tree? And then on top of that, I feel like a lot of these Disney Plus shows could have been movies, because I feel like Disney Plus doesn't do these shows justice, because half of them are only 6 episodes. Like WandaVision, it was a good show. It actually felt like a TV show. We had a good mystery. I felt like we actually got invested in the characters, unlike any of these shows. And I'm not saying any of those shows were bad. I feel like they just needed to give us more than just 6 episodes. And I felt like a lot of these other shows felt like 6-hour movies. So now I'm gonna talk about the projects themselves, and I feel like a lot of these are just wasted potential. Like, what have been so cool if they would have had some actually cool ideas instead of what if this person was this person or had a different job. Like, I felt like what if was wasted potential. To be honest, Secret Invasion probably would have been better as like an Avengers storyline or like its own movie than whatever this was. And then Ant-Man 3 was so bad because you had Kang, who was set up to be like the main new big bad, like the new Thanos for this saga, basically get destroyed by ants. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Loki Season 2 are honestly really good. And honestly, I liked the Marvels. I didn't think it was that bad. I just felt like it could have been better. Now I'm going to talk about some of the unnecessary hate, specifically the quote-unquote woke comments. Okay, what do all of these projects, what do they have in common? They have all been called woke and bad by neckbeard, right-wing, fanboy, dude bros, whatever the fuck you want to call them. And I feel like a lot of these projects got unfair amount of hate, specifically ones with people of color, women, and queer people in them are leading. And I'm not saying any of these projects didn't have problems or were not bad, because She-Hulk was awful, and I really did not like Thor. Black Widow was mid, but like, not because it was woke, because of other stuff, because of the writing and the pacing and the story. And representation is a good thing, and I really like how many communities and how many people have been represented in this new saga of the MCU, and that's like one of my favorite parts. And I really hate that it's getting a lot of backlash from racist white fans who have had everything made for them since Phase 1. Like, even recently with Agatha, what really pissed me off is how like a lot of straight male fans were saying this show wasn't made for me. Of course it wasn't made for you. This was made for the girls and the gays. It was obvious by the casting and the trailers. And I feel like this movie got it the worst, because one, straight men really hate Brie Larson for some reason. I really never understood why. And 2, it has 3 people of color in it, meaning it's woke and it's bad and da-da-da-da. And don't get me wrong, this movie did have problems, like the pacing and the story, but I feel like the cast put on really great performances. One more thing, Marvel, where the fuck is this movie? It's been 3 years. As someone who really loves the witchy supernatural side of the MCU, I've been waiting for this movie, and I feel so bad for Mahershala Ali because this movie has been delayed 5 times. And then on top of that, I feel like people have just gotten tired of the multiverse, and because that's a plot point for anything now. There's so much multiverse shit. And then I feel like another issue was a lot of people called this superhero fatigue because there was so much Marvel stuff coming out and there was so much DC stuff coming out in 2021 and 2022, and I feel like that's what made people not like comic book movies as much no more. But yeah, I just feel like Marvel released too many projects for Phase 4 and Phase 5, especially there were I was working at a movie theater in 2021. There was 4 Marvel movies that came out that year, and then 3 in 2022, and then on top of that all of the shows, I felt like it was too much. Okay, now I want to talk about this gem. X-Men 97 is one of the best things Marvel has put out in my opinion, and I really feel like the X-Men and the mutants are gonna be a big part of the MCU going forward, post Multiverse Saga. But I also feel like Marvel needs to do more animation, more. I really I feel like What If could have been better, and I feel like I can't wait for that new Spider-Man show. I feel like that Marvel really needs to lean more into animation. Okay, now that we discussed Phase 4, now I'm gonna talk a little bit more about Phase 5. But before I get into Phase 5, I think my favorite projects from Phase 4 were WandaVision, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, and Loki. Moon Knight and Miss Marvel were pretty decent too, but other than that, I feel like Phase 4 could have been improved. But I also feel like part of the reason that this saga is a mess is because 1, because COVID, and 2, because I feel like they didn't really plan this well. I feel like obviously COVID affected the release schedule and delayed a bunch of the movies, but I feel like they didn't really plan this saga going forward like they did for the Infinity Saga. I really did not think they had a plan going forward, because all of the post-credit scenes have led nowhere, and they're for example, the Harry Styles post-credit scene in Eternals, that will never be answered because the Eternals flopped. Also the post-credit scene from Shang-Chi, the one from Doctor Strange where that lady shows up, there's so much loose threads from Phase 4 and part of Phase 5 that I don't even think we're ever gonna get follow-up on. I feel like they set up too much. We really need more self-contained stories that don't tie into the greater MCU, just self-contained in its own little world. Because I feel like that's what made a lot of the movies from phases 1, 2, and 3 special, because they were a lot of them were like I said, just self-contained, did not have to connect. There was little Easter eggs to other movies and other characters, but it wasn't the whole plot. Okay, I'm sorry y'all, but I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but just my opinion, this movie and these movies prove that a lot of fans only care about cameos over the story. And I'm not saying that these stories were bad, but I'm not gonna lie, Doctor Strange 2 made no sense at all. Rewatching it, Spider-Man was okay, and Deadpool was really, really good. I really loved Deadpool, but I feel like a lot of the fans really when these movies come out, they get more hyped for the cameos over the story. All anyone talked about when Spider-Man came out was Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. When Doctor Strange was coming out, all anyone talked about was who was going to show up in this movie. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against cameos or anything, but I just wish they wouldn't overshadow the rest of the story. And I'm not gonna lie, some of them be cheap. A lot of it's hey, you remember this character from 2004? Well, come see our movie to see them for like 5 seconds. But honestly, when it comes to like this year, Marvel has kind of been on like a decent streak lately. It was pretty forgettable, I'm not gonna lie, mainly because they dropped it as like a binge and I watched it like a day and forgot about it. Loki Season 2 was really good, and I wish they would do Season 2s for like some of their other Disney Plus shows instead of just making so many shows. Guardians Volume 3 was a really good movie, was a really fun movie with a compelling story, and I really love Deadpool, and I really want Marvel to do more mature projects because this movie was amazing. But no, I really liked this movie. It was good, it had a good story, and honestly, despite the fact that everybody said this was gonna flop, I'm really enjoying Agatha. Mainly because I'm a really huge WandaVision fan, but like I really love the mystery aspect and that Marvel is doing more horror type stuff. So honestly, the Marvels wasn't that bad for me, just a little slightly rushed. But I felt like it could have been better with just if it was longer. We don't talk about these projects though. I feel like Phase 4 had some self-contained stories, like Shang-Chi was really enjoyable. Honestly, if anything had to be a Disney Plus show, it should have been Eternals. I just felt like Eternals had too many characters and there was a lot going on. I felt like it could have just been, it would have been better off as a TV show. Miss Marvel was really enjoyable. I really love the Kamala Khan character. I find her to be so relatable, and I feel like that show got like hated on so bad for no reason at all. And I feel like they really did Sam Wilson dirty as Captain America because they gave him this little 6-episode show when he should have got his movie. And on top of that, now that they're giving him his movie, it's getting controversy because Marvel decided to put a character from Israel, like a Zionist character, for no reason, and they refused to take her out the movie. So this movie is potentially being boycotted. So I will be watching illegally, but I am really excited to watch these other two movies though. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. He was a really good actor, and I feel like in another universe we could have seen the original. I wish we could have seen the original version of Black Panther 2 with him in it. I still really love Loki, but I feel like now that the Kang storyline has got scrapped, it just kind of feels pointless. But I don't know. I can't believe I'm still mad that they scrapped it. Like I feel like they could have just recast it, because I feel like the Tony Stark as Doctor Doom thing was kind of just giving, I don't know, like it's giving Marvel is desperate to get white men back. So now they're trying to bring back Tony Stark and all the other original Avengers in very cheap ways. I feel like Doctor Doom is his own character and should not be relegated to a Tony Stark variant. Like, despite all the Jonathan Majors stuff, like if they would have took their time and built up Kang a little bit better, I felt like he would have been a really good villain on par with Thanos. Like that post-credit scene in Ant-Man, despite the movie being really bad, that post-credit scene with the Council of Kangs like gave me so much hope for Avengers. Wanda is mother and is carrying the entire MCU on her back. Agatha is saving the MCU from its flop era. And I really love Shang-Chi and Moon Knight for introducing new characters and having self-contained stories that don't connect to the outside, that don't involve the outside MCU. Honestly, Hawkeye was forgettable other than the Yelena stuff and Kate Bishop, which I'm really excited to see for the Young Avengers. Werewolf by Night, I honestly really liked because I am a huge horror fan, and I really want Marvel to do more stuff like that. Honestly, they did Natasha's character so dirty. She should have got a movie in Phase 1, 2, or 3. Like, she deserved her movie like right after Civil War. Like, they waited till after she died to get a movie, and she is the OG Revenger. Like, they needed to give. She deserved better. Honestly, Doctor Strange was kind of mid, but I feel like the story could have been better. And even Elizabeth Olsen doesn't like how they did her character in this movie. Like, that's so funny to me. Honestly, Thor was really bad and a waste of a villain, and they hyped this up as being like the gayest Marvel movie ever, and this was the most boring, basic, straight white man shit I've ever sat through. Oh, but The Rock is gay. And Valkyrie kissed the girl's hand. Woohoo, representation. Give Disney all your money. Honestly, I really liked Spider-Man No Way Home. I think it's a good movie, but I just wish MCU Peter Parker could get like his own Spider-Man solo story without having to like connect to the Avengers or anything, or like Tony Stark. But I feel like in this movie he beat the Iron Boy Jr. allegations just a little bit. I really hope Marvel does these 3 projects right. I've been hyped for Blade. I really hope Daredevil's good. It's said to be 20 episodes, and I heard that Fantastic Four is gonna be a setup for Doctor Doom and gonna be set in an entirely different universe. But that is all rumors. That's not fully confirmed. Thunderbolts. The trailer for Thunderbolts looks really promising, so I really think that's gonna be good. Ironheart hasn't got like a full trailer yet, but based on her character in Black Panther, I'm really excited to see Ironheart. Alright, that was my discussion of the Multiverse Saga, phases 4 and 5 of the MCU. There was some good, some bad, some mid, but I think this was overall a good and experimental phase from Marvel. And I really hope that they figure out and they find some way to make everybody happy. But obviously you can't please everybody, but I just hope that they slow down the pace on some of these projects, that they keep the good streak going, that they improve on some of these stories, hire some better writers. And yeah, I just feel like focus more on quality over quantity and things will be better. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to talk about for today. Thank you guys for watching. This was Anthony, your professional yapper, signing off.